Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here. And let's wake up those football guys here on this hump day. You know what day it is? It's hump day. It's the middle of the week. And, we're all still alive. So there is that. First, I've got to actually go to my fact checker, Omar. Omar, shout out to you for making sure that I don't put things out there that are wrong. And Omar sent me an email and let me know, Mark, you are dead wrong. You need to correct this stuff. Carson Wentz is garbage. And what he's talking about is, as I said, I think Carson Wentz caught up to Dak Prescott in yardage. In factuality, I got it wrong because I looked at the Philadelphia Eagles, passing yards on the season. Passing yards on the season. And when you look at the passing yards on the season, they actually have more passing yards than Dak Prescott does. Aha, but there's a caveat. They ended up having Jalen Hurts has also thrown some passes and stuff, which has bumped up the numbers. So Dak Prescott currently has 1,790 yards. I don't think that's going to change. Carson Wentz has 1,664 yards. So he has yet to catch up to Dak Prescott. And the amazing thing is even though Dak has not played the last three games, Dak is still 14th in the NFL in passing yards. It's pretty amazing to think where we were. And when you think about how inept our offense is, when people would say, you know what, we were still not winning with Dak Prescott, his yards and things were empty calories that, we still, had issues. Yeah, but you know what? In 31 possessions, we've had one TD. 31 possessions, we had one TD. And here it is. I don't know how many of you have already checked out. I'm sure my number's going to start tanking because, of course, the season is terrible. It's only the true, real, diehard Dallas Cowboy fans that will be here, I'm sure, from here on out, or the trolls that'll come in and tell us how much our Cowboys stink. Although I will say that the Eagle fans seem to be a little bit quieter, that, they won, but they realize there's not a whole lot to brag about. But anyway, we play the Steelers this weekend, the 7-0 Steelers, a Steeler team that seems to have righted the ship and is on a roll. If you're a Cowboy fan right now, the best thing we can hope for is that we don't get embarrassed. Not that we haven't already been embarrassed by the likes of the Cardinals and the Washington football team and things. We got beat by the Eagles. You didn't quite embarrass us. I dare say, Eagles, you may have embarrassed yourself. So I wanted to play this clip this morning, which is actually discussing the Cowboys quarterback situation, where we had Ben DiNucci in there, and of course now we may be having Cooper Rush play or Garrett Gilbert. I described it as whack-a-mole. We just have a quarterback pop up, boom, he gets whacked. Another one pops up, boom, he gets whacked. But let's listen to the crew here.
Are a 13.5-point underdog at home to the Steelers. No surprise there. The league's only undefeated team. They are rolling. Listen to this. This is only the second time in the Super Bowl era. For context, Super Bowl 55 will be paid in February. Super Bowl 55. It's only the second time in the Super Bowl era Dallas has been a double-digit home underdog. They were a 14.5-point dog to the Niners in 1989, the first year Jerry bought the team.
So let me say this, Key. His comments, it was frankly more than he could handle. I don't know what you could have expected for somebody to come in under these circumstances. Here's what I expected. I expected Dallas not to embarrass themselves. That should be the bar for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. Do not embarrass yourselves. Look, Ezekiel Elliott struggling. Their defense leaks like a sieve. Even against the hapless Eagles, that's the point. And now he faces a competent team, and the Steelers team who is 7-0. You're talking about bringing in two guys who have a combined snaps of 9 career NFL passes. 9 career NFL passes. That's what you're going to do. So, look, just don't embarrass yourselves if you're the Cowboys. As a Cowboys fan, that's all you can ask.
Well, look, here's what I would say. When you get down to the third quarterback, you don't have a fighting chance anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, it's pretty much over with. When you start to play your third quarterback in a National Football League, your days are numbered as a team and an organization for that season. I think when you look at it, they had a chance to address the quarterback issue if they felt that was necessary. Then they thought Andy Dalton would be back. He figured, okay, concussion protocol, he'll miss some time, he'll be back. Ben DiNucci will be able to come in and kind of just ride the ship for at least a week. And then now you have the COVID situation that's come up now with Andy Dalton, where he's now placed in the COVID IR. So you don't have anything else to do with it. You go on the streets and pick up a quarterback, you might as well play the guys that you have because they're the ones who know the system. They're the ones who were with you doing training camp throughout the regular season. Now you bring in somebody else, you got to retrain their brain all over again to get them to understand the system. You're in the same place that you were before you brought them in.
What's interesting is Jay mentioned the two guys, Garrett Gilbert and Cooper Rush, who have those 9 combined passes. Let's remember, Garrett Gilbert is 29 years old. So if you've been scuffling for this long, trying to make a squad nearing the age of 30, as Key says, it tells you where you are. He did play collegiately at Texas and then transferred to Southern Methodist. So the Cowboys regional scouts at least like something about him because they put their eyes on him. But Jay, on the other side of the coin, not all backups are created equal. Last year, when Ben Roethlisberger had the arm injury, Mike Tomlin had to go with Duck Hodges, and he had to go with Mason Rudolph. Not exactly Garrett Gilbert and Cooper Rush, but certainly a little bit better with regards to experience. Rudolph has started numerous games. And you might recall with those two guys who elicited confidence in absolutely nobody, they went to the final Sunday of the regular season. They needed a little bit of help. But if they would have won and gotten help, they got one scenario, didn't get the other, they would have made the postseason. And if there were 7 teams last year, like they're going to be this year, they would have made the playoffs with those two.
I can turn that off because we got no hope of that one. To acerbate, and I probably mispronounced that. My wife, if she heard me say it, would probably say, don't use that word anymore because you butchered it. What's really killed the Cowboys, and this is where, if you're a Vosh Lombardi fan, that you understand what Vosh is always talking about. Vosh is always talking about offensive line, draft offensive line, draft offensive line, draft offensive line. You got to take care of the line, and there's nothing more proof-wise that you could look at and say that our offensive line, which has had 10 different lineups in the 8 games that we've had, there's been no consistency. And when you've got, third-string offensive tackles playing for you, when you have rookie undrafted players that are giving up 7 pressures and 3 sacks in one game, even with Dak Prescott, you don't really have an opportunity to win. And this is where the Dallas Cowboys have a lot they have to address. We have invested a lot of money on our offensive line, but sadly, they're not out there. They're not out there. And you got to start looking at this from the standpoint of what you have to understand is as guys get older, they get more and more injured. They will miss time. And if you invest so much money in so many guys like we have, you don't have the wherewithal to be able to get other guys to replace it. Or, like I said a few years back in 2017, you're so top-heavy here with great players that if they play, you're dominating. But if you lose that, you go to Chaz Green. And Chaz Green literally lost us the game against Atlanta in 2017. So the Cowboys have a lot of holes and a lot of reevaluation to do. Unfortunately, because of the contracts they have signed with these guys, they're locked in. Tyron Smith, you can't get rid of if you wanted to because you restructured his contract. So you're going to have to bring him back. Zach Martin, still great guard, but again, he's getting a little bit longer in the tooth. So the reality is we're just not a good team right now. And we don't have a lot of hope for changing that very soon. All right, y'all. That is what it is. And as always, I appreciate you guys being here. And sounds like I've got a water plumbing issue. I think our sewer line is backed up. Oh, boy. Should have known I was going to have to deal with some shit today. All right. I'll catch you guys later.